What is going on, everyone, and welcome to the Fantasy Football Hub YouTube channel. Today I'm joined by FPL expert FPL Salah. Abdul, pleasure to have you back on, my friend. How are you doing? Are you excited for the upcoming game week off the back of, let's be honest, not the best one last time out?
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to put the last game week behind me. Really annoying game week, which I'll touch upon why. But yeah, biggest double game week of the season. Let's see how it goes. It's going to be the wildcard 35ers versus the free hit 34ers. So
Yeah,
yeah, an exciting battle.
it's going to be interesting. Obviously, your team is dead ending into 34. It's worth saying that now, but that doesn't mean that we're just going to focus on players that are good for people that are wildcarding 35. It's important, I think, also to give the viewers some good players for weeks around that as well, depending on strategy. But yeah, let's start things off with last week, as you said, and just talk to me about what happened, especially with your transfer. People can see Rico Lewis in the team.
Yeah.
What happened there? Obviously didn't return, but he did start.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, like if you watched the video last week, you'd see that my planned moves are either Gavardiol in or Reguilon. It was one of them two. It was going to be like a 1 week punt because, as you know, I'm dead ending into game week 34. But as we know, for like this season, we've had a lot of leaks. Pre-deadline. If you're on Twitter, if you're on social media, you probably already know that. But especially for the Man City team news. So we got a leak that Rico Lewis was starting. So I thought, you know what, he's playing in that John Stones position, invert full back, and when he plays in that position, he gets forward a lot. So I went for Lewis instead, and obviously I had that inside information, but I ended up backfiring, which was quite ironic.
Yeah.
Some people probably say deserved, which fair enough. But yeah, I mean, also the leak news has been accurate, throughout this whole kind of season. But then we saw that it was leaked that Foden was going to start, but he didn't, and apparently it was a late change, but we don't know for sure.
Yeah. I want to get your thoughts on just sort of the leaks in general, because obviously we saw a lot of backlash on Twitter, which I was quite surprised about. To be honest, I think it's kind of disgusting. I mean, I don't care that much, but these people, like, the Twitter leakers, do this for free. And like the news has been accurate throughout the entire season, and has been in previous seasons as well, with the likes of Rockstar on Twitter. And it's people are saying, oh, if the team's going to be wrong, don't bother leaking it. It was right, like the vast majority of the time, and we've used it to our advantage in the past. I mean, even game week 1, right? We saw that we heard news about Gabriel not starting and Saliba starting, and that was clear points that a lot of people that were on Twitter made. If is it a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know morally, but what do you think about leakers in general and the backlash that they got when it was wrong on the weekend?
Yeah, so I mean, we don't know if it was wrong. I don't think it was wrong,
Yeah.
because it was just one of those where it was last week. But look, the leakers, they're doing what a lot of people want them to do. So there shouldn't be any sort of backlash towards them. It's like, we choose to follow that information. I think in an ideal world, you'd probably say, there shouldn't be any leakers, and we've all got a level playing field. But that's not how the world works. The leakers are there. So either you take advantage of them, or you don't. I mean, and if you don't take advantage of them, then you're probably going to be, over the long term, you're going to be at a disadvantage. You probably lose more points than you'll gain. So if the information is there, and the leakers are giving them out free, then I would say why not? Because look, we're on social media. It's impossible to ignore.
Yeah.
I mean, you can say, look, you take the kind of high ground and you say, I'm not going to follow it, but it's literally impossible, because once they share it, everybody else shares it. Even if you don't follow those guys, it's going to come up on your timeline. So, so are you going to ignore that completely, when you know it's going to be right, 99.9% of the time? Or, I think most people would just, say, look, let's just follow it. It's there, so we take advantage of it. If it's, again, look, ideally, we probably, all want a level playing field, but that's never going to happen, in any capacity.
Yeah, I agree. I also think it's just a massive part of football and the game now, and FPL. I mean, we saw Pep reference it in his press conference. Even if you're gonna see what managers have to say about injury news, well, they'll often lie, and that's obviously very important for our teams. I'm not saying they shouldn't lie or whatever, but we use that information to do what we're going to do with our teams.
Yeah.
We have to use that as well, don't we? I mean, what do you think about Pep saying it's for the leakers? We wanted to see what was being leaked and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, that was quite surreal, because it's like, he clearly knows about it. But like a lot of people are just taking his word for it that because the reporter asked him about, was Foden supposed to start, and then he said he just went he clicked on straight away and he said, no, he goes, the leakers were wrong, something along those
Yeah.
lines, right? So that tells me he knew about it, and I don't know if I believe him, to be honest. I think he maybe just said that. I mean, my instinct is that he just said that to kind of make it out like that the leakers were wrong, and we know who they are now, kind of thing. But I do think it was just, it was a late change because that information came from a few sources. So let's see. Look, if he's telling the truth, and they have got the leaker, and they've caught them out, they flushed them out, then we're going to know in the next few weeks.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was pretty funny that that was referenced, and he clicked on straight away.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of my favorite parts about FPL is when managers get involved, and we saw it with Dean Smith in the past with Aston Villa. That now infamous quote about living in the real world. I just think it's brilliant. It just adds another dimension to the game.
Yeah.
Right. Let's get into your team for the upcoming game week. What do you think? Looks pretty good. Obviously, as we've said, you're dead ending into this week, so yeah, can do what you want, and it's for this week and this week only.
Yeah, so I've got two free transfers. So last week I mentioned, look, I was going to do like the most likely transfer, and it still is the most likely transfer path that I'll take is like Son to Eze and Taylor to Van Dijk. So that gives me 10 double game. Well, it gives me 11 double game week players, but I'll be benching Zabarnia and playing Haaland. So I'll be playing 10 double game week players with Haaland. However, like since the start of the week, I had a few ideas, which I've been quite tempted by.
Okay.
And the other one of them is so Son to Eze and then Palmer to either Diaz or Elise. So that will actually give me with that I can go with 11 double game week players because then I'd bench Haaland in that. So it's a bit risky, but it does give me Diaz and Eze's coming anyway, so it'll give me Diaz or Elise instead of Van Dijk. But also then I play Zabarnia and Sarabi and bench Haaland. So it's risky, but I think that one has potentially more upside. And the reason I kind of thought about that was because Liverpool's haven't been keeping many clean sheets, although the defense number has been okay. They haven't been keeping many clean sheets, and there's two away games against Fulham and Everton. So I don't know. I mean, look, Van Dijk's got the goal threat. He's always up there in the corners. He can score at any time. But I don't know if there's enough upside there. And I do prefer that midfielder move. But the thing is, with Palmer, I'll lose 0.6 million on him if I get rid of him. And look, I know at this time of the season, but not team value isn't of importance. But when you're losing 0.6 on one player, and I know I'm going to wildcard in game week 35, and I'm not going to have Salah and Saka, and I'm going to have to make a plan to get them back in game week 38.
Yeah,
that does add up. So I'm taking that into consideration in this situation.
Yeah, I think that's the thing because you might think, if you're not going to have Salah in 35 on 35 wildcard, then you don't need the money. But I mean, looking at the fixtures, we'll get to the fixtures for every team in a bit. But looking at the fixtures, it's going to be hard to ignore him for the rest of the season. Obviously, it depends on what happens with going for the league or whatever, if that race is still on. But yeah, you've got to leave that path open to potentially getting him back, and obviously
Definitely.
very, very expensive. Let's do this. So predicted points for your Diaz move, or I'll choose Diaz over Elise. So Diaz is slightly higher predicted points this week, so I'll put him in. Predicted points there, if you were to do that and then bench Haaland, are 120.6.
Okay.
So that's we're playing Zabani and Diaz coming in. Now we'll do it the other way around. And what do you think? Do you think your what you were going to say originally has high predicted points for this week? Obviously, just looking at this week only because this is a dead end team.
Yeah. I think that the original move of Son and Van Dijk and playing Haaland would be higher because I know the algorithm really rates Haaland, the FF Hub. So I think this one would be higher.
Ooh, do you reckon? Okay.
I think so.
Let's see. So it'd be Virgil in for Taylor, and it was
Son for Eze.
Okay, and then it'd be Palmer coming back in for Diaz, making that transfer. That would mean that you'd be starting Haaland. Well, to be fair, it's very close. It's 120.1. So it's almost the same, but it actually says that there's slightly more upside in your second set of moves. Benching Haaland and Diaz coming in.
And that was coming up higher.
No, it's coming a little bit lower, 0.5 lower.
Right.
So slightly more upside and going for the triple Liverpool attack. Diaz has 9.9 predicted points. It's pretty high. It's higher than any other player that you're looking to transfer in.
Yeah, that's interesting. I did think the other one would be higher because Jota's back as well now.
Yeah.
I think he'll probably affect maybe Darwin's minutes a bit more than Diaz's, but that's still something something to take into consideration. But yeah, that's interesting because my top three Liverpool attackers would be, I think, right now, Salah, Darwin, and Diaz still.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. I mean, I think
And
Jota, but with Jota, I mean, like, look, he's just back from injury. Do you really see him starting these two games?
no, I guess it depends on the Atalanta. I mean, people are saying, and I kind of agree, if he gets 60 minutes in the Atalanta game and then comes off looking like he's ready to start on the weekend, and their attack has been so poor lately.
You know what? I guess it is a possibility, but then let me just check, right? So Liverpool are playing Atlanta, and then they've got the game on the Sunday, and then again on the Wednesday.
Yeah, the turnaround
Yeah, I mean,
isn't great.
I guess 3 days is okay, but yeah, I just don't look. The thing is, he's just back from injury, and they've got so many options with Gakpo as well.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think, look, the Liverpool kind of attack now is a bit of a minefield, right? Apart from Mo Salah, and I've got Darwin there, and that's mainly because I already had him. So maybe if you see like the free hit teams now, very very few of them have got Darwin in there.
Yeah, which is mad, but I guess he has been out of form of late.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could, yeah, out of form in the sense that I think, yeah, he's not scoring,
Well,
but
missing chances,
he's still
yeah.
getting the chances as
True.
usual. And I don't know, I think Klopp really rates him personally, and I think that I'd be not I'd say out of take Mo Salah out of the equation, he's going to start 2 games, right? I think the
Yeah.
next attacker, if I was to put money on it, I would say the next best attacker, to start that most likely to start 2 games is Darwin.
Really, over
Yeah.
Diaz?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah,
Wow.
I just think I think Klopp rates him a lot. You can see this season, and when he's been fit, he's played a lot of minutes. But Diaz again, I think I mean, very like not very likely, but I say likely to start 2 games. But I think Darwin kind of is ahead of him in the pecking order.
I do agree with you in terms of the clean sheet potential in those games. I saw you tweet earlier today about the odds on getting one clean sheet across the double. And Liverpool was
Yeah,
about 50%, wasn't it? About just over
54%.
50.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah. 54%.
yeah,
I mean, I can understand that. I think that they have a decent chance in the Everton game. I do not see them keeping a clean sheet at all at Craven Cottage.
yeah.
But then it is a sort of it's the Van Dijk sort of thing to do, to pop up with a headed goal and a double.
That's it. And he has got the goal threat. I mean, like
Yeah.
he's always a threat in them corners. And look, that is the safe move. I mean, the Van Dijk is totally nailed for minutes, right? He's going to start two
Yeah.
games, and Eze is going to start 2 games. But then it's just that kind of fun factor of getting the triple Liverpool attack, getting Diaz
Yeah.
and Eze, and
I
Zabarnia might pop up with his goal again. You never know.
That is, I mean, yeah, I cannot see
Yeah,
many points for Zabani, I'll be honest, but yeah, exactly. You never know, and doubles are always crazy.
yeah, yeah,
So yeah, I mean, how are you going to decide what's gonna change your mind? Is it minutes in the
yeah.
game?
I guess so. Look, so it's Wednesday today, so tomorrow, Liverpool game. That's going to be a huge factor
Yeah,
in what transfers I make. The minutes that the attackers get, and captain wise, I think it's going to be Salah. Regardless, I think he's pretty nailed on as my captain. But transfers wise, yeah. I'd say I was about 70% on the first move. Eze and Van Dijk in, and then right now about 30% on the Diaz and Eze move. But that could change after Thursday.
okay, sure thing. Right, that's your team, and obviously we'll see what you end up going with in your final team reveal, which will be posted on the website, link down below in the description and the pinned comment before the deadline. What I want to ask you now is a question about free hit for managers on free hit. Can you give me a one player per position which you think that perhaps is going slightly under the radar? So not like the template picks which we all kind of know
Yeah.
about. One player per position that you think could be a good differential on a free hit over the rest of the field. Not saying you have to have a differential on free hit, but just perhaps a player that
Mhm.
isn't really being thought about among the community.
I think like from the free hit teams I've seen, right, this is from my experience. Like I would say I've not seen. I don't know. I could be wrong here, but Henderson in goal. I think is he quite popular?
Well, I don't know. I think he was, but I think now that people seem a lot higher on. I mean, Bakar, for example, it wants triple Palace attack on a free hit. A lot of
Yeah.
people are looking at Munoz as well. Mitchell after his return in the last game and thinking that maybe Henderson is avoidable, or there's better Palace options out there.
Yeah, I think I would. I don't think I would go for it. I don't think I'd go for a triple
No,
Palace attack.
me neither.
I think I'd go for one defender in there because and I think for me, the goalkeepers, as I said, they can get save points, they can get random points, bonus points. So I'd say for Henderson, I think he'll probably be quite low owned. In defence,
Just on Henderson quickly, I think I completely agree with you. And according to the predicted points here, he's actually the second highest he has the second highest predicted points out of any goalkeeper
right.
this week. So just ahead of Alisson, I think perhaps slightly to do with minutes concerns, but also, I mean, the fixtures aren't great for clean sheets compared to Henderson, and
Mm,
only behind David Raya.
yeah.
It's close there as well. So yeah, I think he was one that was in a lot of drafts, but has come out of them now. Perhaps maybe he needs to go back in.
Yeah, I really like Henderson. I think if I was on a free hit, he'd probably be in.
Okay.
Um, in defence, I don't know. I think I've seen a lot of like Van Dijk's and Trent, but I think Robertson could be an option.
Okay. Yeah.
Because look, I think outside of Van Dijk from the defence, they're all none of them are nailed to start 2 games, right? Van Dijk is Kanate, Kwanzaa, they're rotating. And then Robertson's just back from injury. He's played the last 2 games, 90 minutes, but Simicast is there, he's his direct kind of replacement backup. So it's happened before in double game weeks where Simicast has got a game. So there is obviously that doubt with Trent. Really, fair enough, Bradley's injured, but Gomez could play there. And Trent's just back from injury as well. So they've all kind of got a bit of rotation risk looming over them. And I think Robertson is probably, I'd say fairly kind of set, high up there in expected minutes. And I think he's always kind of gone under the radar in terms of because Trent's always been there, but he's got attacking threat as well. And I think he'll be fairly loaned. I don't think many people will go there.
Yeah, I like that shot a lot. I think he's been looking good as well recently. I mean, he came on, created that chance. What was it? There's a chance at the back post against Atalanta. I was watching the game, and he just came on. He looked really good straight away, and yeah, quite attacking and aggressive like the
Yeah.
Robertson of old.
Yeah, and
Um,
I think it was 3 game weeks ago he came on as a sub and got an assist as well in
yeah,
his first game back. So yeah, he's getting forward a lot, and he's always in within a chance of getting an assist or even a goal.
I like that as well. Just because, as you say, not entirely sure about the minutes of Trent, but Robertson should be a lot more secure. All right, let's
Yeah.
move on to midfielders. Midfield, I think, is one of the perhaps toughest positions this week. To be fair, forwards as well. There are a few that are going to be in every team.
Mhm.
I think, Salah, Eze, Saka are pretty much nailed in every free hit team that I've seen.
Yeah.
Outside of that, though, the last one, or maybe if you're going for a five, that is, I think, is a little bit more up for debate.
I think Havertz is quite popular, so I won't say him because I think a lot
Yeah.
of people I've seen a lot of Havertz in a double Arsenal. But Brereton Diaz for Sheffield United. The fixtures are there. He's pretty much like a forward, but he's listed as a midfielder in FPL.
Mm.
So I don't know. I don't think he's a bad shout. Honestly, I don't think he's a bad shout at all. I think that Burnley game, you know, that is one of the games of the season which Sheffield United, one of the few games they could win and they'll be
Yeah.
confident of winning at home. And they've got like the only defense that's worse than Sheffield United is Burnley's. So Burnley and Luton. So I mean that's a banker of a fixture. And then Man United away, anything can happen. That United are unpredictable. So I don't think it's a bad shout.
Yeah, I really like that shout. I do, and I think that him being a Sheffield United player is going to mean that a lot of managers potentially overlook him. But again, looking at predicted points, same predicted points as Elise, more than Odegaard, who we're not sure about his injury, of course. But
Mm.
yeah, I mean, getting up to the same predicted points as the likes of Diaz and Havertz, almost in that sort of conversation for Brereton Diaz, you wouldn't expect it. But yeah, I mean, for any other team, if they had those fixtures, you'd be thinking have to have a player in the
Yeah.
attack because they are the best. They are no doubt the best fixtures of this game week
Yeah.
from an
And
attacking point of
yeah,
view.
and look, and because you're on a free hit, you can, you've tailored your team. It's a hand-picked team, so you've got to have 10 other brilliant players there.
Yeah,
So it's a 1 week punt. Anything can happen.
yeah, I like that shout a lot. And then finally forwards.
Yeah, the forwards is tough. I think because when you look at like Sheffield United, Everton, I mean with Everton, there's no forwards that are really nailed with Calvert-Lewin and Beto. Same as Sheffield United. I think Brett and Diaz is enough. You know what I mean? He's their best option, attacking option, I think, by far. And then I think the popular options are going to be Darwin, Mateta, and Solanke. So I think going for Acuna there, I think he'll probably be out of those 4 forwards, he'll probably be the least owned.
Yeah, I agree. I'm seeing
Yes.
him on a lot of benches on free hits, but not in
Yeah,
many, not in too many starting 11s.
yeah, and I think it's just the Arsenal fixture, which is fair enough.
Yeah,
But look, the Arsenal, but the bonus fixture is good. No, Arsenal, the Arsenal fixture is at home. I mean, look, Arsenal's defense is amazing, but the thing with Cunha over Mateta, the advantage there is that we know Cunha has a chance of being on penalties as well, whereas with Mateta we know it's Eze, so there is that off chance that they get a penalty. We don't actually know like who because the Wolves haven't had a penalty yet when Cunha,
yeah.
Sarabia, and Hwang have been on the pitch at the same time. So it's a bit up in the air, but I guess some people think it's Cunha that's the first in line. So there is a chance he's on pens as well.
Yeah, I think it's also important that the Arsenal game is the first one, just because there might be a European hangover there. But we're recording this before the game
Yeah.
tonight on Wednesday. But I mean, they have to put everything into that game, and then they play on Saturday evening.
Mm.
You could argue that that's perfect time to play them after the biggest European fixture that they've had in a long time. So I don't know, maybe not the worst potential game at home. I mean, who knows? The Bournemouth game is obviously the fixture.
And if you look at the clean sheet odds for that game alone, Arsenal are at 44%. So
Wow, under 50% is
yeah,
pretty
so
crazy for that defense.
56% chance that we'll score in that game.
Wow,
So
fair enough.
yeah, there's an argument there to be made for him.
Okay, there we go. Okay, my friend, let's round things off with your recommended transfers. And it's actually the first thing you said to me is being recommended by Fantasy Football Hub's AI tool.
Wow.
Taylor to Virgil, Son to Eze. Now, interestingly, that was slightly below your other set of transfers in terms of predicted points. Only 0.5, but it was a little bit below. I think the reason why this is being recommended over the other set is just because it's more safe and it gives you a slightly stronger bench as well, just in case something was to happen. Also, importantly, you keep Palmer here, so you're saving a lot of money.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think I probably just heard what I was saying and copied me.
Yeah, it does tend to do that.
Yeah, that's I wasn't expecting that, to be honest. That is quite impressive. That is, despite the other move having more expected points, that has gone for that. So there's obviously a reason for that. It could be the Palmer, the money issue, or the fact that Van Dijk is more nailed for minutes. So
Yeah.
Nice.
As always, guys, if you want your own personalized AI recommended transfers, the link is down below. Sign up. It's still worth it because these are the crunch game weeks. So if you're not sure what to do with your team and you want a little bit of help, or you just want someone, the AI to kind of just fact check what you're doing and make sure it makes sense, I guess, then link down below. Okay, that is going to do it for this one. Before we go, Abdul, I just want to ask you about players that don't have any chips left or aren't playing a chip in 34 or 35. Players like Foden and Son, who Son obviously not playing this week, but then has all those doubles coming up. Is it important to keep him and then Foden as well? Just the injury issues and the stuff with Pep. Do we keep him as well?
I think so. Look, if you've not got your chips left, then these players you're just gonna you're basically gonna have to build towards double game week 35 and 37.
Okay.
So the likes of Son and Foden are very likely going to be in your team. And with you preparing for game week 34 as well, you're not going to have many transfers from now until then to build towards that. So yeah, I think if you've got the likes of Foden, Son, any other double game week players who are doubling in 35 or 37, then definite keep.
Okay, there we go. Thank you very much, my friend, as always, for the tips and advice. Good luck to all of you this game week. Once again, if you do want to use any of the stuff that you've seen in this video, then the links to do so and sign up to Fantasy Football Hub are down below. And we'll catch you on the next one.